Israel is committing genocide in Gaza.
South Africa was able to join under a rule of the Council that allows non-members to participate in discussions, and the country's representative didn't hold back.
Israel's impunity and apparent political protection is not perceived, it's real. This impunity puts into question the whole meaning of, and I quote, legally binding, because this organization has adopted numerous resolutions since the formation of the United Nations that have been undermined by Israel for decades. To affirm its status as a legal delinquent, immediately following its receipt of armed support from those who support it, Israel committed yet another massacre on 10 August this year, when it bombed the Al-Tabin school in central Gaza City, where thousands of displaced families had sheltered.
Van Schalkwyk warned that the assassination of Hamas's political leader Ismail Haniyeh in Iran last month and the continuous targeting of civilians would further compound the situation in an already volatile region, accusing Israel of defying provisional orders of the International Court of Justice, that Palestinians had the legal right to protection against acts of genocide, including killing members of the group, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction, and causing serious bodily and mental harm to members of that group.
The UN's Human Rights Office indicated that at least 17 schools in Gaza had been targeted in July alone.
There must be an immediate cessation of hostilities across the whole of Gaza, and all attacks on humanitarian workers and medical staff must cease immediately and permanently. The continued occupation of Palestine, destruction of infrastructure, obliteration of livelihoods, displacement, collective punishment, and extrajudicial assassinations will undoubtedly make the realization of a peaceful solution to the Palestinian question and the situation in the Middle East in general much more difficult to achieve.
UN officials continue to warn that nowhere is safe in Gaza and pointed to the desperate need to reach a ceasefire agreement, release the hostages, and scale up humanitarian aid.
In just 2 weeks, more than 250,000 people have been displaced, often on multiple occasions. Evacuation orders, supposedly for civilian security, are clearly having the opposite outcome. Civilians are repeatedly asked to evacuate to areas where essentials for their survival are absent. They're repeatedly being killed and injured in the very places they've been told were safe to go. Shelters and displacement camps are reportedly used for military purposes by Palestinian armed groups, exposing those sheltering there to terrible danger.
The United States continues to back its ally despite lamenting the mounting Palestinian civilian casualty toll.
Israel has a right to pursue Hamas. Israel has a right to respond to threats. But how it does that matters. We've said repeatedly and consistently that Israel must take measures to minimize civilian harm. Colleagues, I cannot stress enough President Biden's view that it is time to bring immediate relief to the long-suffering people in Gaza and the long-suffering hostages and their families. The best way to do that is a ceasefire in Gaza with a hostage deal.
Israel's ambassador said their strike neutralized dozens of vicious terrorists who used the school for their evil goals in violation of international law, and that Israel takes every possible measure to minimize collateral damage.
We targeted dangerous terrorists operating in a Hamas command and control center within El-Tabain school. As usual, Hamas cynically abuses civilian facilities which should be protected as their terror bases. This strike eliminated at least 31 Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad terrorists who carried out attacks from inside this compound. These vile terrorists included platoon commanders, mortar and rocket operatives, cell commanders, and intelligence operatives.
As the council met, the Pentagon confirmed that U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken approved the possible sale to Israel of fighter jets and other military equipment worth over $20 billion. Shervin Bryce, SABC News, New York.